Oh, I can only come in if I'm on the official schedule. Alright. Some backstory. I took some time off of uni and got hired at a big name retail store in a local mall. Been working there for a while now and school starts up again, so I gave my 2 weeks as a courtesy. My immediate manager says she's sorry to see me go, then asks me to come in on a certain day, even though I'm not on the schedule, to finish up some inventory. Okay, no problem. Fast forward to yesterday when I arrived at work. I go to clock in, then get an error. My immediate manager comes over with a really puzzled look on her face and overrides it. Maybe scheduling just forgot to add me? Oh well. 2 hours. I'm lugging a massive cart full of clothes across the store when Big Boss, our store manager, shows up. The conversation went something like this. Big Boss, why are you still here? Didn't you give your 2 weeks? Me, well yes, but asked me to come in to finish inventory. Big Boss, she has more than enough people for that, and you aren't on the schedule. Stop working and leave please. Cue malicious compliance. I abandoned the cart right there in the middle of the store then went to clock out. Fun fact, one of my coworkers had a mandatory hour-long break coming up that I would normally fill in for. Since I couldn't, that meant they had to find someone within 15 minutes. Guess who was the only employee on the floor? Big Boss couldn't even go up to his office to grab a water bottle because there was a massive line at our station. I walked out the store 6 hours early, knowing the manager who kicked me out needed to do my job for the next hour. Good times. TL, Dr. Store Manager wants me out of the store because I'm not technically on the schedule. Ends up having to do my job. Well, you asked for it. About 2 years ago I used to work for a very large grocery store that had a cafe on the inside. In this cafe, we sold things like a typical concession stand, hot dogs, pizza, ices, etc. that were relatively cheap. That is, you could get a large pizza, breadsticks, cookies, and a 2-liter of your choice for $13.99. Pizza wasn't fantastic by any means, but pretty good for its price point. Anyways, we sold 4 types of pizzas and initially, we weren't allowed to add extras of any kind. This included extra cheese, pepperoni, etc. But after enough complaints from customers, we started to accommodate. Anyways, if you know anything about 3-meat pizza, the shit can get pretty greasy by the time everything cooks together. The pizza itself came with quite a bit of sausage, pepperoni, and bacon already, so if you added anything extra you were gonna get a goopy pizza. We would always explain this to the customer when they asked for extras, and usually once we explained, they were cool with it and just ordered a regular pizza. Well, cue a typical Karen. Comes to the counter and asks for a 3-meat pizza, extra of everything. I explain what will likely happen to the pizza if we do this. Your dough will be so soggy with the grease and weight of the toppings that you won't be able to pick it up. And she, of course, scoffs at me and acts like I don't know what I'm talking about. I gesture to a similar pizza we had just made. She still wouldn't listen and got more rude with each passing second. I'm getting antsy and irritated myself after already having worked the second half of a very long shift. So as I finish ringing her up, I ask to trade places with our pizza artist because I want to make this one myself to make sure it turns out just right. I gave her exactly what she wanted. Exactly. I piled as much cheese, bacon, sausage, and pepperoni as I could without smothering the outer crust. The thing was a monstrosity. I put it in the oven, and sure enough, when it came out, this thing was more oily than Karen's ugly little forehead. I slapped it in a box, and called out her name, and went back to my post. Sure enough, she comes stomping up to the cash register and demands we remake her pizza, because it was too oily to even pick up. We, of course, have to oblige, but she wants the second pizza made the exact same fucking way, as if she expects it to turn out different. Of course, it doesn't. A manager is called because she thinks we are doing this on purpose. Manager doesn't know what to say because we can only do what we are told. I get the dirtiest look ever, and as she stomped off, all I can remember was making faces at her back. TL, doctor tried to tell Karen that adding too many toppings would make her pizza too oily. She didn't listen. She leaves without pizza and I get the satisfaction of doing exactly what the customer wants. This thing was more oily than Karen's ugly little forehead. I just imagined a bright spot on the wall where the light was reflected.